Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box with a Technical Trader at techtrader.com. Tuesday night, the 4th of October. These are the charts of the day. Sloppy day on Wall Street, folks. A lot of stocks we traded did well, but it was a tough day, and most of them didn't hold their gains. Let's take a look at the indices first. You can see why. We opened up with a good gap, got up to resistance in that zone. S&P got up near the gap, and then they pulled back. On the S&P, the 3-day, or we'll call it 2-day channel, with the 1, 2, and 3, it showed a late bounce that could be wave 4 developing. I'm not sure we're done yet. S&P's, the NDX is a lot different, as it now shows on the hourly charts a large wedge. But any movement below the 4800, 4810 area would be very disastrous, and the S&P could easily fall down to 21, 20, 30 zone and or break it. So at this point, we have to be extremely cautious in here. Let's take a look at some of the stocks that did very well today. Now, ACIA didn't do that much, although late in the day, if you take a look at it, it popped here. In the after hours, they came out with a raised guidance and the stock took off. Take a look at the 1-minute chart. See, here you go, by mid-morning it was running up. By midday it ran up to about 105 and change. And then pulled back at the close. Only to pop right after the close and raise guidance, wedged, ran up, flagged, and it kept going. It's right now near the after hours high at 110.69, up 869. And if you look at how to translate on the daily chart, it's up in that zone right near the gap, 111.38. So we get through that tomorrow, we can see that extend into the 116.18.20 zone. It remains to be seen though if we have a weak or strong market. It's a large consolidation, or is it a top? We won't know until it's completed. ADSX with a nice snapback today, 1.7 million, the biggest in 2 months traded, as the stock snapped up through resistance, got up to secondary resistance right about that 12.5 area, reaching 12.41, and then backed up a little bit. But still, on a lousy day for most stocks, this was up $1.10 or 10% on 1.7 million. So very optimistic this is going to carry forward. AUPH popped 2 days ago I should say, and then pulled back to the gap. Yesterday was kind of a positive inside day, and today it popped right up to the resistance and backed off. If this gets through 375 tomorrow, this could very well be 4.5 quickly, and my secondary target at 5.5. Cannabis stock Canopy Growth. You can see the recent coil breakout, tight coil, and then explosive move with 2.8 million today. This is the all-time high. If it gets any higher than that, this could spike. Lucid, one of our favorites. Fantastic swing trade. As it popped, pulled back, we put a buy on it. And over the course of the next 3 weeks, it went from the 1921 zone to 39.27 and backed off yesterday. Today was a positive inside day. We're going to have to see whether we can get out through 39.25. If we do, I'm looking for 44.5, and then eventually we can get something in the low to mid 50s. Potentially. We'll see. Strong rising channel in play. Celldex. Well, Celldex popped, got right to resistance and backed off. It's still netted almost 7% gain today at 5.5 million. It's the biggest volume on an update since back here in March when it started coming off the bottom. This is a nice multiple month base pattern. Resistance around 5. We get up through 5, we're going to look at 6.25 and then eventually 8.5, 9.5. But first, let's get up through this zone of resistance that we're encountering right now. With 8.34 days to cover, they may be a little easier. I want to take a look at the goals long and short. Look what happened today to dust. We talked about this over the weekend. After a long downtrend in the rollover in gold, you can see how dust popped, pulled back in a 3-wave corrective, formed a wedge, declining topsline, peaked through yesterday. Today, a breakaway gap and a run-up of 10.46 or 29% on 16.6 million. The JDST did even better, jumping 31% or 792 to 3320, and with volume of 9.8 million, one of the biggest in its history. You can see the double top. That may be challenged tomorrow at 35.80. If that gets to 35.5, 36, 6.5, you could very well see the stock run towards 50. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but basically it looks like a bottom may be in on the gold negative ETFs. Now, looking at how that affected the obvious longs, the JNUG and the dust. Here's the JNUG down 31% today in 1 day. Key support broke as the stock rolled over. And just in the last 2 weeks, it's gone from 23 to 11, more than half. There's a key zone of support in here in the JDOG, around the 9 3/4 to 10 1/2 range. We may get that tomorrow morning quickly. 36 million all-time record volume traded today. So from the standpoint of a down channel, if this is 1, 2, and 3, we could be nearing or at the channel bottom, which could result in a snapback. But I must admit, when you see a channel break like this and then a snapback, roll over hard, it's not the end of a move. It's usually somewhat in either the beginning or middle of a move that could lead to lower levels. Now, I'm not saying this is going to 5, 6, or 7, but anything's possible. Here's a $33 stock trading at 11, and that only took 6, 7 weeks. Unbelievable. Now, looking at the dust side, you can see the pop today on 16.6 million. We showed it to you a few minutes ago. You can see where resistance might be on that. Nugget. Incredible implosion. 72 million. One of the biggest volumes in its history on a down day. And the last time I traded heavy volume like that after a big drop, that was an important low before it reversed big time. I'm not saying that's an important low. I'm saying we're at the bottom of the channel and what looks like a 1, 2, 3 wave move. The hard part is it's a little bit below support and in between next support, which comes in around 10 1/4 half. If we do implode somewhat further tomorrow and we get a spike up in dust and JDST with a whack in gold, we should get some bargain hunting and a snapback. Keep that in mind. Now on the silver side, SLW also cracked its trend yesterday and today followed through with a breakthrough double bottom support. That trend is done, kaput. Trend line's broken, price support's broken, moving average is rolling over, and so again, even though we may snap back and consolidate, I think ultimately we go lower, probably towards 20. Another look at USLV, which is a triple and getting hammered, down 16% today. Again, all of these are short-term oversold and may get a bounce. I want you to be aware of that. Let's go back to the regular stocks we've been following. EDIT. Now here's a stock that was a monster when it went public, exploded from 1690, got up into the 40s. It was a steady rollover since then, since April when it topped in that range. It came all the way down to 13.12 yesterday. Today it popped $1.43 or 10% on. The biggest volume in an update on EDIT since its IPO session. Well, it was one day here where it peaked. But I gotta say that the falling wedge, which is a perfectly formed one, looked like it broke out today. I'm looking for a move to test the 17.5 area. We may get up as high as 18, 19, or 20, but at this point, let's just take one step at a time and see if we get a follow-through for starters. There's 3.9 days to cover on that one. Nice move on Etsy. After the recent pop breakout and we gave you a swing on it, it pulled back on a neat, orderly falling wedge on lower volume. Volume picked up yesterday, it popped out, it followed through today. Did back off a little bit, but it was still up 4.4% or 2.7 million. Better volume than even yesterday. And if we can punch through here, the channel top target comes in around 17.5 3/4. 5.2 days to cover. Recent IPO GSUM. This is what it's looking like. After a pop and a coil for about 5 sessions, it broke out and had a falling wedge. Late in the day it came on again, and after hours is over 18. Up $1.14 at 17.85 and even higher after hours. Watch this one tomorrow. Momo, big day for this stock. One of the few ones that not only ran, but ran and held near the highs, up 239 or 10.8% on 6.5 million. That's the biggest volume in 3 weeks, and it looks like it broke out of the wedge today. Watch resistance about 25.60, because the channel, the way this is constructed, tells me the mid-channel could be 28.29. That's my short-term target. NOVN, recent IPO. Here's a 15-minute look. After spiking up off the lows in the 13-14 range, it went up 10 points to 23 and pulled back. Today it's formed some sort of consolidation flag type looking pattern. Look at the OBV moving up. If we can get this up above 21, I think it starts to move. There's also a declining topsline that comes in around there. And any punch up to that area, we could take off in NOVN. One of those IPOs, very promising. biotech IPO that looks real good. Your stop's under 19. Your target near term is 23.5. Secondary target high 20s, 27, 28. Progenics. 3 days in a row, exploding out of the falling flag pattern. Here's your base, breakout, three-wave corrective, held the moving average, held the trend line, lateral price support, and spiked up. Now, at the end of the day today, it did pull back. On your intraday pattern, you can see the falling wedge. I'm looking for this to pop, spring back, and get up to 8.5 short term, followed by a move up to 8.5, 9 short term, and then 11. Sina, Chinese stock's doing very well today. This one popped on 2.9 million, was up almost 3.5%. Targeting the 85 and then 91 zones for this one going forward. VIPs, yet another big snapback break out of a flag today. Looking for this to test 17.5, 18.5, eventually 22. 4.66 days to cover on that. Cena's got a very small short position. Weibo, swing trade, phenomenal, up another 334, 6.5%. Nearly 3 million traded today. As it breaks out of the coil, looks to me like we're headed towards 67.8. YY, yet another, broke out of a consolidation range. Volume picked up to 2 million, popping almost 5% or 262. Next target would have to be in the mid-60s. And that's going to be it for today, folks. Covering a lot of the stocks in the Chinese, some biotechs, and certainly the gold and silver stocks. That's it for tonight, everybody. Have a good evening.